Elena? I just heard from Caitlin.
You did?
I'm not happy with you, young lady. I had no idea you were coming home. You need to give me more notice than that.
But I did message you. When you didn't reply, I messaged Caitlin instead. She said I could stay over.
Oh, come on. Caitlin's Andrew's wife. She was hardly going to say no, was she? You're her sister, and she was probably just looking out for you because she didn't want to come across as rude. You can be so inconsiderate sometimes, you know?
Look, I'm sorry things turned out this way. But there is a reason. Like I told you, my company booked me the wrong hotel by mistake, and I had nowhere else to go. There was one with some rooms left in the next town along, but it's really far away from where I'll be meeting with our clients. Please, can I just stay with you for 1 week? I promise I won't be a nuisance. I'll clean up after myself and even help you out around the house.
Well, I suppose you're here now, and you do still have a room.
In that case, what's the problem? I don't see what all the fuss was about. In any case, it's not like you're around in the daytime anyway. Don't mind me at all. I bet you won't even notice I'm here.
But surely you understand that being your mother, I want to make you all sorts of lovely meals and delicious treats. No doubt you've been eating nothing but cheap supermarket slop while you've been away living on your own. As your mother, it's my duty to make sure you eat a healthy, well-balanced diet.
Cheap supermarket slop? I am a fully grown adult, you know, Mom. I cook my own meals pretty much every day. The only time I get a ready meal or takeout is when I'm too overloaded with work to make anything.
It's easy enough to say that, but are you really? I wonder. I know how slovenly and undiscipled you can be when you're on your own. Oh, I feel sorry for you just thinking about it. There's nothing else for it. Tonight's supper will come with a quadruple serving of vegetables.
I told you, I'm fine. You talk like I'm some malnourished third-world villager. Please, just make what you normally would. Normal is good. Oh, yeah, I heard you went to the theater to watch a play today.
That's right, I did. Your mother, the cultural connoisseur and enjoyer of fine things in life. Oh, it was incredible. There are a few things I wanted to pick up on the way home, so I'll be home in a little while.
Wow, get a load of you, Mom. My mom, the very picture of sophistication and refinement. Okay, so I have the full day off work. I could come and pick you up if you like.
Really? Are you sure you don't mind? You've driven an awful long way. Are you sure you're not tired? It's not safe to drive when you're tired.
Don't worry. My head was feeling a little frazzled when I got here. But I took a power nap followed by a strong cup of coffee, and now I'm back at peak performance.
Well, in that case, I'll take you up on your offer. How about we eat out for dinner somewhere?
Sure, works for me. But what about Caitlin? Won't she feel left out? She said she was heading out to grab a few things from the hardware store.
Leave it with me. I'll message her. She can be a little slow to respond, so we might have to wait a little while.
Sure thing. Oh, what about Andrew?
Your brother went away on a month-long business trip to New York last week, so we don't need to worry about him.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that.
Why did both of my children have to go and choose jobs that involve jetting off for lengthy business trips all the time? What are you two like?
I know it might be awkward sometimes, but it sure is great to be able to experience so many different places. And all on the company dime. I tend to get bored easily. So I think the fact I get to go on these mini holidays might be part of the reason I've been able to do this job for as long as I have.
Personally, I think it's about time you got promoted to a position that involves you holding a little more clout within the company. You know, a role where you're the one giving orders.
I don't exactly disagree. But in the meantime, I plan to enjoy the trips they send me on to the fullest.
Not only that, but have you been thinking about remarrying at all? I really think it's time that you did. Haven't you found anyone?
I just don't feel the urge after marrying once already. It's like, been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Oh dear, Elena. Surely you don't intend on staying single the rest of your life.
If I do, I do. And if I don't, I don't. That's just the way life goes.
That's just the way life goes? Ah, you always had a clever little answer for everything. I bet that side of your personality had something to do with why you divorced in the first place.
Wow, Mom. I'd prefer if you didn't say things like that. Besides, we most definitely did not divorce because of anything to do with my personality.
Yes, fine. Point taken. Anyway, I just heard back from Caitlin. She said she's too busy to join us for dinner. So we should go just the two of us.
Ah, I see. All right, I'll start heading out to you then. I think I'll grab her some kind of present on the way back.
Oh, you shouldn't go wasting your money on things like that.
I don't see how it would be a waste. She was kind enough to agree to me staying over.
In any case, you can see to that later. I'm resting my legs in a coffee shop by the main entrance to the station at the moment. When you get here, find somewhere close by to park and come and join me, okay?
Got it. See you soon. Hey, Mom. I just got word that I'll be going out for dinner with our client for the next 2 days. So don't worry about making me anything for a little while.
Okay. What time will you be home?
I think it'll probably be sometime around 10 p.m.
You'll be the last one to take a bath then. Make sure you clean the tub out before you go to bed. We can't have the plug hole getting clogged up with hairs.
Sure, will do. So, hey Mom, there was something I wanted to talk to you about. It's Caitlin.
Caitlin? What about her?
I've hardly seen her at all. I must have seen her, 2 or 3 times in total since I got back? Even then, we barely spoke. Is everything okay with her? Something about her vibe seems different.
Different? How do you mean?
How to put this? She seems a little more blunt than usual. I won't go as far as saying she's being cold towards me, but something definitely seems off, and I can't quite put my finger on it. I wasn't sure if maybe she felt uncomfortable around me for some reason.
Oh, I don't know. Do you think it might have something to do with you showing up out of the blue to use our house as your own personal hotel?
I knew it. I did think it might have something to do with that. I couldn't help it, what with work messing up my accommodation and all. But I see how it could have rubbed her the wrong way. I guess from her perspective, it wouldn't be weird if it just looked like I was waltzing into her house like I owned the place. Ugh, the more I think about it, the more I feel like I should make it up to her. I'm gonna go out of my way to show her I'm sorry over my last few days here.
Don't be silly, dear. You hardly have time to be doing that with your work duties, now do you? You shouldn't make commitments that you can't stick to. It'd be better for all of us if you just got your work over and done with and went back home.
Mom, why do you have to be like that? I kinda see your point, though. Instead of going out of my way to please her like some groveling suck-up, I should just keep my head down and get out of her way as soon as I can.
Exactly. There's no need to make any grand gestures.
Okay, got it. Things are going well with her and Andrew living with you, aren't they?
Huh? Why would you ask me that all of a sudden?
Well, you are all shacked up together in one small house. I didn't even live with my mother-in-law, and we were still fighting like cats and dogs all the time. It amazes me that you've been able to keep it up for so long.
Just because you and your in-laws were constantly at each other's throats it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same for everyone else. It's hardly any wonder you struggled with that difficult, abrasive personality of yours.
Mom? That was one message too many.
You and your sister-in-law couldn't be more different. Caitlin's polite, reserved, respectful, and she's always thinking of others. Oh, Andrew really hit the jackpot with her.
I'm glad to hear that. The only reason I ask is because it's hardly something you see every day, isn't it? There were so few wives who'd agree to have their mother-in-laws move in with them. I hope you look after her.
I don't need to hear you telling me that. Of course I look after her. What on earth do you take me for? I have to admit, though, she has seemed a little grumpy as of late.
Isn't it just because I'm around?
I wonder. Listen, Elena, to tell you the truth, I intended to keep this quiet because I didn't want to worry you. Especially not while you've got so much on your plate with work. But we've already come this far, so maybe I should just tell you.
What? What is it? You can't not tell me now. You just made me 1,000 times more curious.
Well, the thing is, Caitlin started being very cruel and unkind towards me lately.
What? Seriously? Surely you're joking.
Oh, believe me, I wish I was joking. Her attitude completely changes the moment Andrew's not around. It's like she turns into a different person. Before, whenever I asked her to do something for me, she'd be so warm and friendly, and always helped me with a smile. Now? She flat out ignores me.
Are you sure you're not just asking her to do unreasonable things?
As if I'd do that. It's only ever for small favors that she doesn't have to go too far out of her way for. Just like always. The only thing that's changed is her. To tell you the truth, I didn't want you to see how unpleasant things have gotten between us.
Ah, so that's why you panicked when you heard I was coming home.
I just can't make sense of it all. I can't help but wonder if I did something to upset her. I knew it'd take some time for her to get used to living with us, and I did my absolute best to make her feel welcome and at home. I really did.
You do have a habit of saying things that are probably best left unsaid from time to time, you know. It's not totally beyond the realms of possibility.
But does that really justify her flat out ignoring me? Don't you think that's horrible? I'm just about getting by without completely losing my head, because she at least goes back to normal when Andrew's around. But to be honest, I'm at my wit's end with it all. The way she treats me. You'd think she wanted me out of the house as soon as possible.
I never had her down as that type of person.
You don't normally live with us, so how would you know?
Fair point. I guess I can't argue with that. Have you tried speaking to Andrew about this?
I'd rather not. Hey, son, did you know your wife treats me with utter contempt like I'm a piece of dirt on the bottom of her shoe? Oh, the thought of it alone is embarrassing.
Utter contempt? Are you sure you're not exaggerating here? Obviously, I can't say anything for sure, but it is possible you're making some kind of misunderstanding, you know? But if it's bugging you that much, rather than raising the issue with Caitlin and risking a confrontation, I think you should speak to Andrew about it.
Oh, I can't do that, Elena. I don't have any right to go making waves. I'm sure if I just keep my mouth shut, things will improve eventually. They were kind enough to let me move in with them after all. How bad would I look if I started causing arguments? I never wanted to get in their way. But living alone after I retired was simply out of the question. I would have been so lonely. Even if Caitlin does insist on being unpleasant toward me sometimes, I'd rather put up with it and be close to my son. rather than live completely on my own.
Please don't overdo it for her sake, Mom. Just because they agreed for you to live with them doesn't mean you have to tolerate rudeness and disrespect. You're her mother-in-law, for crying out loud. Besides, keeping all that stress bottled up inside is only going to make the living situation more difficult for everyone in the long run. If it's loneliness you're worried about, you're more than welcome to come and stay with me in my apartment.
Ugh, I will do no such thing. You don't even intend to give me grandchildren. How on earth could I live with you?
You sure don't mince your words, huh, Mom? I'll tell you what. Why don't I see if I can't coax something out of Caitlin the next time I see her with some gentle poking and prodding? I'll be gone before you know it. I may as well be useful while I'm here.
No, you'll do no such thing. This conversation stays between me and you. You've caused her enough of a nuisance as it is without sticking your nose into our business and causing unnecessary fireworks.
Don't worry, I won't let on that you told me anything. I won't even say your name.
Absolutely not. You don't even live with us. The last thing we need is you disturbing the peace before you disappear, leaving me to clean up the mess.
But seriously, Mom, don't allow yourself to be a victim. You don't deserve to be treated like this. If you ever have any trouble with her, I want you to know you can speak to me whenever you want about anything.
Thank you, darling. Oh, if only my wicked daughter-in-law was as kind as my real daughter.
Don't you think there's a chance this ill will might be manifesting itself in the way you speak to her?
Even if it was, it wouldn't be a problem. It's not like we speak anymore anyway. She obviously prefers her own mother to me.
Isn't that only natural, though? I doubt there are many people that doesn't apply to. Oopsie, would you look at the time? Sorry, Mom, my break's almost over. I'll have to get back to work soon.
Okay, darling. Good luck with the business meeting. If it looks like you might get away early, let me know when you're coming home. Catch you later.
Hey, Caitlin. Sorry about messaging you so late at night. Are you still awake?
Hey, good evening, Elena. I'm awake. What's wrong?
I know I should have said this earlier, but I'm sorry I showed up at the house to stay with you guys on such short notice. I'll be going back to Indiana the day after tomorrow. So while I completely understand if you find it a little bothersome, please tolerate my presence a little longer. I bought you a little something today, so feel free to have it as a snack tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, sis. I appreciate the present. But you really don't have to apologize to me. This is your family's house after all. Don't mind me one bit. I want you to take it easy, relax, and enjoy your time here.
Thanks. There was something I wanted to talk to you about, actually. Something that's been bugging me a little. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Sure. What is it?
It's just, I've been coming home from work late these past few nights, and every time I do, I see you going into the garden shed. Once you go in, you never seem to come out. I didn't think too much of it at first, but I've seen you go in there 3 nights in a row now. It's winter and the nights are getting so cold. I can't for the life of me make sense of it. What are you doing in the garden shed every night?
That's not exactly an easy question to answer.
Do you have some kind of secret hobby that you don't want Mom finding out about? Don't worry, I won't say anything to her. This conversation is strictly between me and you. My lips are sealed.
My bedroom's in there.
Excuse me? Your bedroom's in the garden shed? But you have a bedroom inside the house.
Yeah, but I can only use it when Andrew's home.
Wait, so are you telling me you sleep in the garden shed every time my brother goes away on business?
That's right.
Okay. This might seem like a stupid question, but I take it means that you're not sleeping in there because you want to?
Right.
If by any chance, is my mom forcing you to?
I'm sorry.
Caitlin, why are you apologizing? Surely my mom's the one who should be saying sorry.
But I'm a complete and utter failure of a wife, so it's right that I sleep in the shed.
What? No, that's not true. You're an amazing wife and you've done nothing wrong. My mom's the one in the wrong here for making you sleep in there. And in the middle of winter? Ugh, how could she? I know this might be difficult for you to discuss, but please, would you mind giving me a little more background on why this is happening?
But if she finds out I said anything...
I promise I won't say a word. And even if she did find out somehow, I'd have your back. I mean it. That said, I know you probably can't get out of the house on such short notice. And I have work tomorrow.
Please, Elena, this isn't necessary. I don't want to cause you any trouble. I'm fine, really. Besides, I have nowhere else to go. This place is all I have.
But you can't go on like this. I think you should at least go and stay with your parents until we can come up with some kind of solution.
I can't. My parents don't care about me. They made it abundantly clear I'm not to go anywhere near them ever again. Even if I did go back, they'd just send me away straight away.
I see. I had no idea you guys were on such bad terms. All right, I see. Leave this to me, okay? I'll come up with something. And don't worry, Caitlin. I won't do anything that makes life more difficult for you at home.
Caitlin, you seem to have gotten awfully big for your boots over these last few days. Who the hell do you think you are, you vile little witch? You think you can take advantage of my wonderful daughter's kind, caring personality, don't you? How about you start fulfilling your womanly obligations as my son's wife and get the damn housework done and make some dinner instead of going out for meals with Elena? What the heck do you think you're playing at? Explain yourself now.
What do you think I'm playing at? All I did was go out for dinner with her.
You watch your tone, you insolent little worm. Back in my day, you would have gotten the belt for cheek like that. You'll be disappointed to know that my daughter's finally gone home. Which means there's no one left to protect you. Prepare yourself for what's coming, young lady.
There's no one left to protect me? What makes you think that?
Think about it, dimwit. Andrew's always away on business. So we'll be back to spending most of our time at home together alone from now on. Not only that, but your parents got so sick and tired of your attitude that they tossed you aside like the piece of garbage you are. They practically disowned you, which means you're stuck here with me. All it would take is one word from me, and Andrew would get rid of you just like your parents did. So I suggest you start showing me the respect I deserve as your mother-in-law.
Ah, there it is, the divorce threat. You like that one, don't you? That's how you backed me into the corner I'm in now, after all. You really are one wretched old hag.
What did you just call me? You just wait until you get home, young lady. You will not get away with this. Hurry up with your shopping and get back to the house this instant. I'm going to teach you a lesson you'll never forget.
Caitlin won't be coming back to the house again.
Huh?
It's me, Elena. I brought Caitlin back home to Indiana with me. She's gonna be staying with me in my apartment.
Elena? Wait, what? Are you being serious? My daughter, Elena?
Yes, your daughter, Elena. Caitlin will be taking refuge at my place for the foreseeable future. Oh, Mom, what have you been doing to this poor girl? You're the most despicable person I've ever met.
Elena, no! You've got this all wrong. Don't believe her lies. All I did was give her a gentle warning because she was being arrogant and rebellious.
You call this a warning? This is no warning. This is plain old bullying. You should know I didn't find out about this because Caitlin told me. You had her so terrified that you would have probably carried on getting away with it. But luckily, I just so happened to see her going into the garden shed at night when I got home from work late. And that's how I found out about your bullying campaign. You had me totally fooled.
Elena, I need you to listen to me, darling, okay? Remember how I told you before about how Caitlin was being cold and disdainful toward me? I felt afraid and threatened, and I wasn't thinking straight. I may have lashed out a little excessively, which could have come across as domineering, but it was only because I was trying to defend myself. Look, the point is, there's a reason for all of this. You can't just show up for 5 minutes and suddenly act like you understand everything. These are complicated household affairs that you're sticking your nose into.
Mom, you do realize I'm sending these messages from Caitlin's phone, don't you? I can see your entire chat history. It's plain to see you've been severely bullying her ever since you started living together.
But she was being cold and disrespectful toward me, and that's the truth.
Who wouldn't be cold and disrespectful towards someone who forced them to sleep in the freaking garden shed? You turned into the devil every time Andrew went away on business. You forced her to do so much housework she lost 10 kilograms. You even went out of your way to make as much mess as possible to make sure she could never get it all done. As if that wasn't bad enough, you called her every name under the sun throughout. You're acting just like my old mother-in-law.
Do not compare me with that vile woman. How dare you?
You don't seem all that different from where I'm standing. You had Caitlin so scared she couldn't even bring herself to speak to you. Then you call her petrified silence disrespect and use it as an excuse to double down on the bullying? The only one who's too big for their boots here is you. You're out of control and you have to be stopped. And in fact, I already told Andrew everything.
Oh my God, no. Seriously? Did you really?
Obviously I did. I'll admit, part of me thought he wouldn't have her back. Just like my ex-husband never used to have mine. I found it hard to believe he'd have no idea what was going on. But to my surprise, he was genuinely oblivious. He was furious.
Elena, please. You have to undo this. Tell him it was all some kind of a huge misunderstanding. Or a prank, or something. Ugh. If you do, I'll apologize to Caitlin. I'll show her how sorry I am.
Now, why on earth would I go and do something like that? This isn't a misunderstanding, it isn't a prank, and you're 100% in the wrong.
But Andrew won't let me live here anymore. No, I can't go back to living alone. Don't do this to me. I'm begging you.
You had the opportunity to be with your family, and you used it to launch a vicious bullying campaign against your daughter-in-law. You only have yourself to blame. Caitlin did her absolute best to win you over, to earn your approval and respect. And what did she get in return? Humiliation and abuse. The only reason this is happening is because of your own actions.
I'm sorry. Please tell Caitlin I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll never be mean to her again. I swear. Please, just get her to forgive me. You'll make her see sense, won't you, darling?
No, no, and no again 1,000,000 times over. The fact you think you can use fake tears to take advantage of her kind, caring personality just goes to show how not sorry you are. Oh yeah, Andrew told me to tell you they won't be living with you anymore. Caitlin will be staying with me here in Indiana until the two of them find a new place.
Elena, I'm begging you. Don't do this to your old mother. Please forgive me. It's precisely because I did accept Caitlin as Andrew's wife and my daughter that it might have felt like I was being hard on her at times.
But that makes no sense. Where's the logic? Also, you seem to have changed your tune from a few minutes ago. Before, it was because she was being cold. Now it's because you accepted her? It can't be both. How could you do this, Mom? Surely you didn't forget that the reason I got divorced is because my mother-in-law was bullying me. Did you forget all the times I told you about how small, how insignificant, how pathetic she made me feel? I wanted to crawl into a hole and die. And now my own mother has become the monster. You threw Caitlin's kindness and consideration right back in her face, and you completely ignored her efforts to earn your respect and approval in the cruelest, most shameful way possible. You're no mother of mine. You can live out the rest of your days alone in crippling isolation for all I care. At least you'll have plenty of time to think about what you've done.
Elena, no! You don't mean that! Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Andrew is so precious to me. I could hardly argue if you said I was overprotective and unhealthily unwilling to let go of him. But I didn't do what I did out of any personal malice towards Caitlin. You have to know that. I admit it. I'm flawed. But I'm not the monster you're making me out to be.
So you mean you don't hate her because she's Caitlin? You hate her because she's your son's wife? You have serious talent for coming up with nonsensical excuses. The fact you're able to rapid-fire such barefaced lies to your own daughter is just as impressive. I get more embarrassed with every word you say, and I can't take it anymore. I'm out. Goodbye.
Elena, no! Wait! I'm begging you, please. All I'm asking for is a chance. Please, just hear your mother out.
My mother? All you are is a sad, pathetic, bullying old hag. You're no mother of mine. You should be the one sleeping in the garden shed. You deserve to go through everything you put this poor girl through. If you want me to hear you out, get back to me after a few months sleeping in the shed and doing impossible amounts of housework, and maybe I'll listen.
Elena, please. You're my daughter. Surely you're not going to cast me aside like this without so much as a thought for my well-being?
Surely you're not surprised. I do have a difficult, abrasive personality after all. Besides, just like you said, I'm nowhere near as kind and considerate as your daughter-in-law. After that, my mom was yelled at with the fury of 1,000 suns by an enraged Andrew, who had to cancel his business trip to deal with the horror story unfolding back home. Of course, he reiterated that their shared living arrangement would be permanently terminated, and is currently looking for a new place for him and Caitlin to live in. After going back to living on her own, my mom hit rock bottom, tormented by a mixture of crippling loneliness and the unshakable feeling that this whole thing might just have been her fault. According to my friend, who also happens to be one of the neighbors, she virtually never leaves the house anymore, and the only person who ever visits is the pizza delivery guy. Andrew made it clear that he'd never have anything to do with her again, which means that when him and Caitlin have kids, she'll never get to meet them. It's hard to imagine that she doesn't regret what she did, but even if there is a conscience hiding away in there somewhere, I don't have an ounce of sympathy for her. As for Caitlin, her suffering ended the moment she left the house. I went out of my way to make sure she'd never have to speak or see my mom ever again when I confronted her from Caitlin's phone. If my mom so much as attempts to do anything remotely questionable, I'll come down on her so hard she'll regret giving birth to me. It's great to see Caitlin back to her old, bright, cheery self. Her mood lifted the moment she got away from her tormentor, and with all ties having been cut, she should stay that way. She sometimes comes over to my apartment to catch up and hang out. If one positive has come from all this, it's that me and her are closer than we've ever been. She really is one of the kindest, warmest souls I've ever met. And I count my lucky stars every time I remember seeing her creeping into that cold, dark shed that night. In her own twisted way, I'm sure my mom had her reasons for what she did. That doesn't justify it, though. No matter the reason, bullying is never acceptable. There are probably as many problems as there are families and couples in the world. But I'm at least glad I was able to play a part in the dispatching of one vicious bully of a mother-in-law. I wish my little brother and his wife nothing but happiness from here on out, and I'll always be here to give them my love and support.